We just got back from this really cool Sony event where we got to see the new video and audio lineup for 2024. The whole event was themed around bringing cinema home and keeping true to creators' intent. At the event, we got to see cutting-edge technology like the giant C-LED virtual studio where all kinds of cool shows and movies are made using virtual backgrounds instead of having to go on expensive locations all the time, as well as multiple sound stages, including a Foley artist showing us how they make all of the cool sounds for the movies that you wouldn't expect to be made that way. So really awesome things to talk about. And we're going to tie in all of the new products with this. So let's get into it right away. Well, I guess it was me that got to go. And when I said we, it was Eric and I, not you.
Yeah, I got to stay at home and do the mom thing, driving the kids all over the place, sports and all that kind of stuff. But I did get this really awesome Sony mug.
We got some Sony sunglasses. We're going to tell you all about it. But first, we're going to talk about the new TVs in 2024. So we have 4 new TVs that we're going to be talking about right now. We have the Bravia 3, the 7, the 8, and the 9. And we're going to talk about the 9 at the end because it's really cool mini LED technology I'm excited to talk about. But let's talk about the Bravia 7 first. So I guess before we talk about specifically the Bravia 7, we need to kind of understand the product lineup because we have 4 new TVs, but there's a couple of carryovers from 2023. And those are the X90L, which is a fantastic like mid-level LED TV. I guess it would probably be even higher than mid-level. And then we have the A95L, the QD OLED, which is also a carryover. So that's still going to be the top dog for QD OLED TVs. But now the X90L has more competition, and the Bravia 7 is that. It's a mini LED TV that's going to have a lot more dimming zones, and it's brighter and better because it's a mini LED than the X90L. So I'm really excited for that TV specifically because it's going to be quite an upgrade, and it's kind of balancing out their lineup. They did have before just this X90L that we had in the house. We had the 98-inch version of it, which was enormous.
Yeah.
One of the heaviest TVs we've ever had in here. Of course, they had other sizes, and then they had the mini LED X95L kind of top dog, and so now this is in between that. It's going to be a more affordable version of the mini LED TV.
So in this newer model, are they going to have a 98-inch?
No, that's a good question. I don't think they're going to have a new 98-inch TV, but they're going to have this Bravia 7 in 55, 65, 75, and 85-inch. So that's a pretty wide range. And because there are 2 mini LED TVs this year, I think the Bravia 7 should be a little bit less expensive than maybe we're used to for a high-end TV. So something that I'm excited for as well.
Well, B, how does the theme of bringing cinema home tie into all these different TVs that you got to see?
That is a good question. I guess most people at home probably don't think about the creator's intent when they're watching TV or movies. But it is important to people that spend countless hours over multiple years making these shows and color grading on, professional monitors to then what are they going to see at home? How is it going to look on a TV for the end user? So it's interesting to hear someone like Joseph Kosinski, the director of Top Gun Maverick, talk about going into his parents' house and seeing, something that he created on vivid mode at his mom's house, which is like very frustrating for him as a director. So interesting to hear that from a creator himself. And similarly, the producer of The Boys TV show on Amazon Prime talking about how they color grade on a master monitor, and then when they actually see it on a Sony TV, it looks like what he expected to look like. And so, in both instances, it's just kind of driving that point home that having the ability to see things with the creator's intent is very important. And we saw that on these TVs. We were in different rooms looking at them, and really with master monitors sitting next to them, you could really understand the differences between how something can handle a certain amount of nits versus another TV that's just blown out here or there. So that all ties back to the new TVs. Seeing the Bravia 7 up against a competitor and how the dimming algorithms work, and even against the X90L last year's model, you could see with the mini LED and somewhere between 3 to 5x the dimming zones this year, a much better control of that lighting and just able to reproduce the picture much better and closer to creator's intent. And when you compare it up against the mastering monitors that they had on the premises.
Well, that was a lot about the 7. Thank you. Tell me more about the 3. Very concise.
The 3 is below the 7.
Oh.
Okay, so that's just a regular LED TV. I think it's going to be a replacement for something like the X85L of last year, more of a direct lit TV. We think it should be an improvement, but honestly, you don't know until you get these in your house. So it's all kind of like tough to determine. But the TV looked great, the samples that we got to see. Again, we got to check these out in the giant C-LED room where they make all those cool virtual productions back there, where you can just have an actor stand there and put anything you want behind you. Honestly, was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. We know that that Sony wall is multi-millions of dollars, so kind of a cool little backdrop to showcase some of their new TVs. As a TV installer, I would really love to have something like that here on this wall. We saw all the connections in the back. It kind of was a little bit nerve-wracking, but man, for a giant studio to have something like this and not have to go overseas for like a green grass background or something like that, really awesome, and just kind of showcases the new technology that they have up in 2024 and just why it's so important for these TVs to look good, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
And then we have also the Bravia 8. Now the Bravia 8 is a new OLED TV gen. We have a QD OLED. I believe that this one's going to be a more traditional OLED TV in the 55, 65, and 77-inch sizes. And there was rumors that Sony wasn't going to make an OLED TV, but that is not true. They have a new one. We'll have to see how much better it is than the A80L of last year, but I'm excited because I love OLED TVs, and I know a lot of people do too. But they will have, as I said before, the A95L QD OLED will roll over from last year. So 2 options this year for OLED from Sony. Now, before we talk about the Bravia 9 Mini LED, we do have to talk about the new soundbars and systems that are coming out this year.
Yeah, because talk about creator intent. Now, are our Sony speakers, are those going to be obsolete now?
No, well, this is a great system, the HDA9. That was what we had in this living room here. They have a new one that's going to replace it. It's called the Bravia Theater Quad. The cool thing about the new quad speakers is that they have a different form factor, which I think will be a little bit easier to put them flat on the wall. They're much flatter than these speakers that we have right here that are more round and bulbous. We have to put them up on the wall. They're a little bit bulky. I love this system. And the great thing is that the subwoofer and the rear speakers for these systems are carryovers. So we could use the same subwoofer we have, but the quad has a new form factor, and then it also has a new device itself where it has the RF signal coming out for Wi-Fi, which is supposed to be much more superior than the first generation model. And I think that's going to be great for most people because that was probably the one complaint about the HDA9 is that the RF wasn't very strong and you had to kind of keep it out about like we have it right here. This is a gigantic room. So hopefully if the quad has a better system to communicate to the speakers and there's no dropouts, that would be a huge improvement.
Oh, yeah.
They do have 4 speakers in each again. They have a front firing tweeter, mid-range, sub or woofer, and then they have an up firing driver. So it should be 4 units per speaker, so 16 total, hence the quad name. I think you got that, right?
That's math I can do.
Nice. And then we have the Bravia Theater Bar 8 and 9, and those are going to be replacing the HTA 5000 and the HTA 7000, which, you know, Bar 8 and Bar 9 seems easier to say than all that other stuff, right? All that gobbledygook that they put in these model numbers sometimes. But the long and the short is the Bar 8 will have 11 channels or 11 drivers, I guess, and the Bar 9 will have 13. So some similarities and differences from the previous models. They're going to be about the same length, but a little bit smaller, but yet have more power and kind of newer speakers and better technologies. And we have the HTA 7000 currently being used with the A95L TV up in our bedroom. So I'm excited to see how much better these are than the previous units.
Yeah, so a lot of really great opportunities for enhanced sound and to really help bring the cinema home. But one of the things that you were most excited for was this Foley artist. He could not stop talking about it when he came home. So why don't you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, it was very cool to get to meet someone that is very important to the movie that a lot of people might not even know exists, which are making the sounds all the way from, you know, horse sounds and galloping noises all the way to like the spider webs from Spider-Man. I mean, it was really incredible to get to listen to someone doing a job that is really like important to the movie. Something that's like really physical, and every single sound in the movie has to be mastered with microphones and a guy sitting there making the noises because on stage they just don't happen. You don't think about this. And having a sound guy in the back make sure it sounds correct and doing it all accurately is just something I never thought about when it comes to sound in a movie. But it basically got me amped up along with sitting in, you know, the giant studios listening to the different movies that they make at Sony Pictures of how important sound is. And if these guys that make the movies come home and think that that sound bar represents what they've done well, then obviously, you know, Sony's doing something well.
Yeah, it's come a long way from Monty Python and those 2 coconuts.
So let's finish by talking about the Bravia 9 because I think that is something that I'm most excited about in 2024.
So you're an OLED guy, so why are you so excited for this one?
Well, I think that we were getting really, really close to a fantastic, perfect kind of mini LED TV with the X95L last year. I've always been a big fan once I actually see it in people's homes. It's a little bit better than I remember when we're just reviewing it, because really it's about what it's gonna look like in the final resting place, not just always what it looks like in our living room kind of on a stand over here. And the Bravia 9 just looks so much better than the X95L, which was already really good. I mean, it has more dimming zones. I think, again, they said somewhere in the range of 3 to 5x the dimming zones. But really, it's the ability to control these dimming zones. I mean, we got an opportunity to put on these cool shades, which is why I'm wearing my Sony shades in the house.
Of course.
Because they showed us the backlight system, which was insane on both TVs, but then the ability to use the dimming algorithm and to have the dimming zones on this year's TV be more variable, be more frequent, and able to exact what the picture is supposed to look like makes a huge difference. Because if it's one thing as an OLED guy, it's that I don't like the blooming in LED TVs, but really it looks like 2024, they're doing a much better job and making a brighter, better TV.
So it took you all the way to the end of the year last year to be able to see the X95L, the 85-inch. Are we going to be able to see it a little bit sooner this year?
Well, I hope so. I mean, they're going to have 3 different sizes this year, 65, 75, and 85-inch. So more opportunities. I would love to get the 85-inch in here. I think it's finally a mini LED TV that I would consider as close to OLED while being so much brighter and better in a regularly lit room like this. So definitely something I'm excited for, and hopefully we'll be able to get one very soon. All right, Jen, that is all the information. That's all the information I have on TVs, soundbars, et al. Do you have any questions?
Well, yeah, can I go next year?
Yes, you can go. But yes, if you have any questions on these products or anything Sony related, please let us know in the comments below. And I want to thank Sony for inviting us to their Bringing Cinema Home event where we got to see all this cool stuff. Very excited for 2024, and I will see you guys on the next video.